So if you want to play tunes from the perspective of language, so you've got the freedom to improvise and actually know them the way a jazz musician knows them, not like a robot, then this is the lesson for you. We're going to look at all the things you are, a tune that gets played a lot, and we'll look at the key changes, how it all works, and what you should know about it. I'm currently doing a series of lessons on this tune for Jazz Skills members, so it will be taught in detail with how to play the right hand chords and melody, voicings, movements, all that kind of thing. Join me on this one where we begin by finding out how it all works. If you don't know me, my name's Sean. I studied with Barry Harris for almost 2 decades, and I've taught approximately 46,000 one-to-ones. Now I have resources that members can follow with support from me on Jazz Skills. So if you're interested in that, then come and see us on jazzskills.com. So what do we need to know in order to attack a tune like this? We can see it's not in C, right? Or is it? Because we've got a C major 7 now. So already it looks like a key change. So there are some background skills that need to be looked at. Now, the key signature obviously is giving us a clue because it's showing us the key signature of A flat major. And then we've got to start saying, well, which ones of these chords are actually in A flat major? And if they are not, then why not? So these are the chords we would get in C. I'm just going to transpose this to A flat. These are the chords we would get in A flat. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Your bread and butter if you're working in A flat. Those are the things to know first, but also know them in numbers, in Roman numerals, because that's going to show you function and context, not just chords. This isn't just an instruction manual to build the flat pack furniture and you think you know better because you've done it before. This is how music works. Often people use this and they say, oh, I think I can get there a quicker way just by writing this down and creating that color coding. It's not that. This is the language, okay? So first thing is, can you play chord number 1, A flat major 7, 2, B flat minor 7, 3, C minor 7, 4, D flat major 7, 5, E flat dominant 7th, written as just E flat 7, 6, F minor 7, and 7, G minor 7 flat 5 with no problems. A lot of people learning this tune, if they're learning it too early in their development, can't do that. So that's something you should do. Now we can look back at our tune and see if any of those things feature in there. Well, I'm pretty sure they do. So F minor 7 was in there, B flat minor 7 was in there, E flat 7, A flat, and D flat were all in there. And it changes when we get to this area. So for me, that's a clear key change. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave us a positive comment. One thing I learned once, which was really helpful, was if you have a major 7th chord that is neither 1 nor 4 in your key, like that C major 7th, then that's probably a key change, because in our key, 1 is A flat and 4 is D flat, both majors, and those are the only majors we'll get in a major key on 1 and 4. So this indicates we've probably changed key. Now let's look at the chord progression because it's all going to get repeated. This tune isn't as hard as it really seems. So we already spoke about the chord names that we get in this key or in any key, but let's look at a progression that comes up, which is this. We're just going to add 4 on each time. So we'll go 1 to 4, and let's just think about C for a minute. We go 1 and add 4. We'll get to 4. If we keep going, we'll end up on 7, B something, 3, 6, 2, 5, and back to 1. Okay, so this chord progression is quite important. It's a kind of circular sound that you will have heard before. And actually some common things that we know and use come from it, like, for example, 2-5-1 comes from it, or 1-6-2-5 comes from it if you use half the circle, okay? So it's a very logical sound to our ears to move in those distances. Now let's see how that works in the key of A flat. Well, there's our progression, 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. But sometimes the starting point isn't 1. If we look back at our tune, F minor 7 isn't 1. In A flat, it can't be. A flat is 1, right? And we don't get to it until there. So what's going on? This common progression can also begin on its 6th. Let's find 6. And all I've done is write this progression out twice, which is what the last line is. So if I go 6, 2, 5, 1, we've got the 1 repeated just because I've written the chord progression out twice. There's no significance of that. 1, 4. Let's go as far as that and focus on that much. It makes me look a bit further. So what I'm really focused on is this area. 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, 7. Well, just 4 actually. 6, 2, 5, 1, 4. So let's see what that sounds like. Ring any bells? E flat 7, A flat major. Straight to D flat. I'm not going to play 2 A flats. And then a key change. So now we can see that this common chord progression is all over all the things you are. 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, and then a 5, 1 key change to C major. I will sometimes play some chromatic extra notes and whatever, but my basis is A flat. Until I get to the G7, right? Now I'm thinking, okay, so how do I think of that key change to C major? Well, I guess A flat major to C something is a major third up, right? So I know I'm in A flat major for this whole section, all the way to there. And then I go up a major third to C by way of its dominant, its 5, which is G7. This is the really interesting part coming up. We're about to repeat that entire thing up a fifth. Watch this. In the key of E flat, C minor 7, F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major, A flat major before a key change. Let's go back and look at our tune now. It's exactly what we get there. So this stuff was all A flat. Then we went into C. Now we're going to E flat. And we're doing the same 6, 2, 5, 1 stuff that we just did. 4. Before a key change, the 5 going to our new key, which by the way is also up 3 from E flat, just like C was up 3 from A flat, because there's E flat, G is 3 up, right? So the whole thing has moved a fifth from this A flat to C, now up to E flat to G. Perfect. And then what do? It gets a lot easier now we've established all that. So from here, we go 2, 5, 1 in G, which is this sort of bridge area. G major. Get some movement in these sorts of tunes. I would normally play F sharp minor 7 flat 5. I'll tell you why in a second. I'm just going to put in a flat 5 there. D7. So what's going on there? In G, what's 2, 5 to the 6? Well, in G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is E minor 7. Now, I know we don't get that. We get E major 7. But the 2, 5 to here would have been F sharp minor 7 flat 5 B7 to E minor 7. I've said this in other lessons that you can go and watch. But two options when we set up an expectation, you know what they are. We either fulfill it or we don't. So we set it up, but we go to major, little key change to E major, right? And then we get a C7. Why? Because it takes us back to F minor, which takes us back to where we were at the beginning. Our key of A flat is exactly where we started, isn't it? So now we get all the same stuff. So I'm just going to not worry about any of that. Same up until there. Now we don't get the key change anymore. We stay in the key of A flat. What do? We go from the 4. It shouldn't be 4 minor 7, by the way. It should be 4 minor 6. D flat minor 6. Because a minor 6 is a function that's very common in jazz standards. If you see something else on the 4 minor, sometimes you'll see D flat minor 7 to G flat 13 or whatever. Or you might just see the G flat 7 or G flat 13, whatever. They are all substitutions of D flat minor 6, which is what I prefer. Which goes home. Home is either 1 or 3. In A flat, that's 1. 3 is C minor. That's where we ended up. This is what we call a flat 3 diminished. Pretty sure I've got a YouTube about flat 3 diminished, which normally goes to 2. 2, 5, 1. mistake here. I think the newer versions of this is just a copy I found online. So it's, because it's what people will be looking at. But this should be an A flat 6. Why? Because the A flat is in the melody. And when we have the root note of a major in the melody, we go for a 6, not major 7 against the root. Okay? That's how it works. That's how you get to grips with a tune and start to build a roadmap for it. When I'm playing live, these things are going through my head. It's not just an instruction manual. So if you're thinking, I think it's just easier to play the chords, isn't it? Yeah, until you say, well, how do I play movements and voicings and improvisation? And then you've got to know language, right? Because now we know we're in A flat for a while, we're in C for a little while, we're in E flat for a while, we're in E major. Where is it? Oh, well, we go back to G and we go to E major briefly, and then we're back to our original key of A flat. That's what you got to know about a tune like this. Okay. Hope that's helpful for you and hope you enjoy playing this tune. It really is beautiful. And once you get your fingers around that chord progression, it's actually really useful. And a bonus tip, you can play this sort of shape, like 1-7, maybe even 3-7-3. You can get through a lot of the tune with the same shapes. If you want to finally stop struggling and get some freedom in your playing, then come and see us on Jazz Skills. I've got a developing fluency course to get you fluent in the first place, where you'll learn all the common progressions and you'll learn how to turn them from knowledge to skills, which I know is a struggle for a lot of you. And then we'll focus on all the stylistic stuff with voicings and movements and improv and many more things as well, plus support from me and a vibrant community of like-minded people. Thanks a lot for watching, and bye for now.